So welcome back to the Muzzle Broke channel, everybody. And today we're talking about this bad boy right here. And this is going to be the KUSA Komrad 12 gauge. I ended up picking this one up a while back, to be honest, just because I thought it was cool. I mean, who doesn't like an AK chamber in 12 gauge? We featured this guy on the channel a little bit, but I figured we'd go ahead and do a little bit of a range review today, just kind of going over some of the specs, features, and my thoughts on it. As you saw there in the intro, you actually can run this gun pretty fast. And in my opinion, this actually would make for a decent combat or self-defense shotgun. So this gun does come with a 12.5-inch smoothbore barrel, and the barrel actually is threaded on the end, so you could use different muzzle devices such as muzzle brakes, flash hiders, or even a suppressor if you really wanted to. One interesting thing about this gun is that it also does take chokes, so if you wanted to do some different game hunting with it, I guess it's actually feasible because you could either tighten or widen the spread of that round depending on what you're hunting. So I think that's kind of interesting. Nothing super fancy with the iron sights on this guy, just kind of the rear leaf sight and a front bead, but honestly, they are pretty adequate, especially for a shotgun. You're actually able to pick it up pretty good and get a pretty clean sight picture. Now, it does have the AK optics mount on the left-hand side of the receiver, but as you can see, I'm not really running an optic on it. I have a side AK mount. It's just kind of a little shitty. I didn't really go with the quality one. I think I ended up getting it on Amazon or something for like 20 bucks. And whenever I put it on this gun specifically, because it does have the recoil of a 12 gauge, it ends up shaking off and it kind of is just a pain in the ass. Not to say if you didn't get like a good quality Midwest industry side mount rail, it wouldn't work. It probably would. I just kind of cheaped out on mine, so I don't run it on this weapon system. And again, to me, the iron sights are actually pretty good. That was one of the things that I'm most impressed with this gun. Even though this is a pretty seemingly bulky weapon, it actually only comes in at about 12 pounds, which for a 12 gauge shotgun actually isn't incredibly heavy, especially with this kind of smoothed out M-lock rail. I feel like I'm actually able to run and gun pretty quickly with this weapon. Not really too much different than a 223 or a 7.62x39 weight, in my opinion. It feels very controllable, and I will say that this gun is actually very well balanced. When we're comparing this to kind of other tactical shotguns, I mean, I recently shot the DP12, the kind of bullpup 12 gauge, and that one just felt very ass heavy and backwards and kind of weird to shoot. And even though we're not really shooting tactical 12 gauges frequently, I do feel like this is a very well-balanced weapon, and I can kind of move and shoot and do what I need to do fairly easily just because of how it's balanced. So one other really cool thing about this gun is that it actually has an adjustable gas tube. Not to flag our camera, but it does come with a high and low brass setting. So right now I'm just blasting off some real shitty trap loads, but we're also going to shoot some slugs and buckshot with this today as well. And all you have to do is switch that gas from low brass to high brass, and it'll cycle appropriately. So this gun does come from the factory with 2 5-round mags, but I wanted to run some build drills for you guys, so we had to get the 10-rounder. So this gun is a clone of the Russian Saiga 12. So it does accept Saiga 12 aftermarket parts, which is pretty cool. At one point in time, I did actually have a 30-round Saiga 12 drum that I used for this gun. It was just an incredible bitch to load. So I ended up kind of selling it at the gun show, to be honest. And although 10 rounds isn't a crazy high capacity, this mag at least feeds appropriately and doesn't jam up on me like that drum kind of did. And that drum was a fucking bitch to load as I struggle with this. Okay. So, although I really haven't had anything bad to say about this weapon so far, it does come with a couple of quirks, and I did actually have some issues with it. Quirk number 1 is kind of going to be the safety. As you can see, we just kind of have a traditional AK safety. This gun does run in MSRP at $1,300, so for them not to include an enhanced safety is kind of annoying to me. Definitely something you could replace, but that kind of brings us to our next issue, and that's going to be loading. So as you can see, this safety does have a cutout here, and that's actually meant so we could set the charging handle in that cutout and leave the chamber open. Some other AKs have that safety and that feature, and all right, whatever. Cool. If you like it, you like it. But for this gun, reloading it is truly the biggest quirk. This is not an efficient weapon to reload at fucking all, and we'll demonstrate that today. The reason why is because you actually have to have the bolt to the rear to reload the gun. So that's probably why they ended up going with this safety with the charging handle cut out and not an enhanced safety. So we have a clear weapon here with the bolt down, and we have a magazine. I can't load the mag. Even if this mag is not fully loaded, you are unable to seat the mag in this weapon with that bolt down. So to load the weapon, what you have to do is flick the safety down, bring that bolt to the back, and I've kind of found the best way to do that is to really like kind of sandwich this buttstock in my shoulder while my right hand's holding that back, put the magazine in, and let her go. As you can see, it's a bit of a bitch to reload. Obviously, another quirk is these mags don't fit in your traditional AR-15 or AK mag holders, so we're ghetto rigging it a little bit today, and that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load the weapon. We're going to shoot 1 round. I only have 1 round in this guy. We're going to shoot that round, and we're going to reload, and we're going to time it, and then compare it to something like, I don't know, a traditional AK. Please don't make fun of me too much because I am going to struggle with this because, like I said, the reloads are this weapon's biggest problem. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that was not my most graceful performance. And is that something I can train and get better with? I mean, yeah, it absolutely is. But is it still a bitch of an operating system? Yes. So although that reload was really sloppy and really shitty, 10 seconds. So we'll compare that reload time to a traditional AK. And this one's actually kind of cool because I am rocking the flip mag. So that'll decrease our time even more. Just to kind of show comparison's sake, the reload on the 12 gauge Komrad there was 10.13. We'll see what we get with the traditional AK. So that was pretty smooth, wasn't too bad. Coming in at about 3.52 seconds. So with this gun, although it is 12 gauge, which is kind of cool, I wouldn't really be using this in a situation where I had to reload. And unfortunately, you never really know what that situation is going to be. You never really know when you're going to need another mag, when you're going to need to reload, or really how many rounds you're going to use. Is this a fun range toy? It absolutely is. I did have one problem with it. I'll talk about here in a second, but this is a fun range toy. I enjoy it. We're having some fun with it out at the range today. It's not necessarily a weapon I would want to take to war. The biggest reason is just going to be those reloads. I mean, it's a bitch to reload. Now, KUSA is actually kind of bankrupt right now and out of business. So I know at one point they were developing a piece you could put down here in the mag release that did allow you to load the weapon with a closed bolt. But I don't think that ever came to market, which is kind of sad because this is a really cool weapon system. It's just the reloads on this are horrible and they don't make it incredibly practical. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do a build drill for you guys. The trigger on this guy isn't anything fancy, but it's a decent AK trigger. So we'll see how fast we can get this thing running today. So, as you can see, I mean, it does fly pretty nice. It came in at a 1.42, which I'm actually pretty happy with that time. As you can see, you know, we're shooting some bird shot today, so it is mulching these targets quite a bit. But hey, man, that's part of the fun. We're going to shoot some buckshot and slugs with it too. But for the sake of my little baby shoulder, we're just kind of doing bird shot for right now. The last thing that I feel like I need to mention about this gun is kind of the issues that I had with it. And unfortunately, I did have some pretty severe issues when I first got it. I had this gun, I shot a couple hundred rounds through it, no big problems. And then the next time I took it to the range, every time I shot, the dust cover would actually fly off the gun. Come to find out, this little recoil spring assembly detent pin was somehow banging up against my dust cover and it dented the dust cover so that it would actually shake and fly off. I did reach out to KUSA about that because I actually had some pretty cool videos of me shooting and the dust cover just flying off into thin air. So they sent me a new dust cover. So replaced the dust cover, easy enough. Took it to the range the next time and I was still having the exact same issue. The dust cover kept flying off. Like, well, what the fuck, you know? So I emailed the company again and I was like, hey, it's my birthday. Like, it was my birthday. I was at the range for my birthday and the fucking dust cover number 2 was still flying off. And they were like, oh, fuck. Well, it's probably something with the recoil spring assembly. So they sent me another recoil spring assembly and another dust cover. And that's currently what we're running today. And no issues with it since then. That was probably about a year ago. But to be honest, I don't have the most rounds through this in the past year. So buyer beware, I guess. I will say to KUSA's credit, they did send me 2 dust covers and a new recoil spring assembly. And that was kind of before I was a clown on the internet. I was just a normal dude. So I guess they kind of stood by their products. That being said, they're currently like bankrupt and out of business. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd buy this today. It's one of those things where it's super cool. It's a $1,300 MSRP. Is it the most practical weapon in the world? It's really not. Could you very well use it as like a nightstand gun? I mean, I think it would really shine in this role. It's pretty small, compact weapon system. If you get a 10 rounder or more, I mean, I do think you have plenty of magazine capacity for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 intruders, I guess. Again, it's kind of tough to say whether you'll need to reload in a gunfight. I don't know. It's beside the point. If you were to get this gun, I can't promise you won't run into issues is really what I'm saying. Is it cool? Yes. Do people like to see it? Absolutely. Is it badass to have a 12 gauge AK? For an AK nerd like me, of course it is, but I'm not quite sure it's the most viable choice. That's just something you have to decide for yourself. Oh, wait. All right. One other thing that I hate about this gun. This does not attach to a 1913 adapter. This is kind of like their proprietary buffer tube system. So you can attach any AR-15 stock or brace to this guy, but you can't change out this buffer tube assembly. So as much as I would like to put this like little shovel handle stock or something on this, I can't. I'm kind of married to AR-15 stock or brace options. I do have this Hogue stock on this as well, just to give me a little bit of rubberized padding. Again, shooting the birdshot isn't too bad, but we're going to go ahead and run some bill drills with some slugs here shortly at the range, and it's not going to be super fun for my shoulder. Let me know down in the comments, what do y'all think of the KUSA Komrad? It's super cool. It's definitely got the vibe to it. It's fun to have. I'm not quite so sure it's the most practical weapon system in all the world, especially in an era where SBRs are becoming increasingly more popular. I do still really enjoy it. It is a ton of fun. I actually have gone some varmint hunting with this, and it's done a great job, but I guess it really just comes down to, are you willing to spend the money on a gun where the company is kind of bankrupt and might not be able to give you that free aftermarket support? I don't know. You tell me. Let me down in the comments. I do really appreciate you guys watching these videos. Every video you watch, every subscriber I get is one step closer to me quitting my job, which I absolutely can't stand. So please subscribe to the channel. We got lots more content. We got shorts, we got longs, and we got live streams if YouTube reinstates my live streams again, because apparently I'm too big and scary. Alrighty guys, appreciate you watching. We'll catch you on the next Muscle Broke video. Please subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a great week.